it's directly bolted on and integrated into Timberline. It's seamless. It's very easy to maintain. There's no more dual databases, such as in the DigiCheck model, where you have to go out to DigiCheck and configure all the banks and so forth. All of the setup is 100% resident within the Timberline application. So, and what I mean by that is if we go into cash management and fire up the bank account setup, so quite simply, if I go to set up bank accounts, this is where we pull the address information and all the check information, the account number, the MICR encoding. I don't have a MICR in here, so let's just do 1221, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just one place to maintain all of your bank account setups. And then further, it's directly reading the check information out of Timberline. So your typical workflow would be we go ahead and fire up the Timberline application, and within the AP system, we'll go ahead and select some invoices to pay. So everyone's familiar with the Timberline app here, just selecting invoices to pay. So based on whatever criteria we select, we can go ahead and select a host of invoices. Now, particularly with property management companies and folks that have a lot of operating accounts, one of the downfalls with the DigiCheck model is when you're selecting invoices to pay, at that point in time, it actually stamps the bank account on that relative invoice. So the only way to change the ultimate bank account for which it's being cut out of is to go invoice by invoice and literally change the bank using the change bank option. One of the split facilities we added to the DigiCheck program here, and I'll go ahead and fire DigiCheck up. So the first function that I want to kind of go through here with you is this bank selector. As I mentioned, in the traditional property management and multi-entity bank account structure, when you actually enter the invoice is when it inherits the bank account. And if you want to print that invoice from an alternative bank account, it's a real pain because the only way to do it is to go through the invoice selection and change it invoice by invoice. So we created this little function here where we can scroll through all of the open invoices in the system or just the invoices that are currently selected for payments. So this is representative of the invoices that I just selected for payments. And at that point in time, I can override and actually change the bank for which it's going to be dispersed from. So that is a big time savings when you're dealing with multi-company and multi-bank account management. As far as the functionality is concerned, this is a direct link into the Timberline AP system. And it also performs basically a write back, and kind of the functionality that I describe it as is buffering. So when I get this load ready checks, it makes a direct connection into the Timberline AP system and pulls back all of the checks that have not been printed to paper yet. And that's kind of an important point where the workflow model that we devised is throughout the day, you can go ahead and print checks at 9 a.m., print checks at 10 a.m., and so forth throughout the day. And at the end of the day, you could pull up the DigiCheck program, hit load ready checks. It'll pull back all of the checks that have not been printed to paper yet. And as soon as we hit process check run, it actually executes the form design, thus printing them out to paper. So this is just a real vanilla copy of a check design. And then once I accept this, it actually wrote back to the Timberline AP system that all of these checks have been written to paper, so that the next time I hit load ready checks, it'll just be representative checks that have not been cut to that point in time. Now, we also have the ability to do reprints. So I can just go ahead and type in or pull down the respective bank account, load the whatever check range that I want to reprint. And as soon as I hit the load range here, it gives me all of the checks that have already been cut in the system. And if I just want to print 24353, 24353, I can hone down and basically just through the selection process, select a particular check that I want to reprint to paper. And it uses the same check number within the Timberline system. Now, this is applicable to both the AP module and the payroll module. In this demonstration version, I don't have any payroll checks loaded up, but the functionality is exactly the same. So I guess lastly, we need to talk about some of the security features. So one point to mention is the security is by domain user account. So that's kind of important because, I mean, this is actually leveraging the actual computer login name. So that gives us a little added piece of security. So we can actually specify the relative domain accounts and give them automatic sign ability with thresholds. So maximum check automatic sign, max check value. So we have auto signature capability. So that's just simply, I mean, most people, if you're doing a check run, you may want to auto sign every check that's valued under $500 or $1,000 or something, and then only physically sign the ones that are above whatever your threshold may be. And then this physically locks down that particular user from the actual ability to print a relative check value. And then some of the other features in here allow settings. So that would be an administrative account. So someone couldn't circle back in and change the security. The ability to allow for reprint, which is kind of important because without that, people could go in and willy-nilly reprint checks. And then basically just the core processes, whether it be AP check functionality, payroll checks, bank changes, and so forth. It's quite simple and straightforward. We kind of designed this on the mantra, let's just keep it simple. Now, another benefit of this DigiCheck program, unlike some of the other competitors, is we also had frustrations modifying check form designs. So our check forms are actually in a technology called Crystal Reports, and I can literally open this up, and if I want to add any nomenclature, descriptions, or anything else, if I just want to modify this check page, I can. So if I want to hard code a logo, if I want to change any of the positions or any of this stuff, it's a very easy way to change your check form design. And then as far as another point to mention is we also do have the ability to do automatic signatures. What we do is we select the respective bank account, primary signer, and this is our logo, of course, but we would actually digitize an actual signature and turn it into a JPEG or whatever file format. But when I hit load image into the system, it actually takes it out of a graphic form and stores it in an encrypted, what they call in a programming fashion, a blob field. So no one can ever touch and modify or get their hands on the signature once it's been merged into the system. So any questions? Does it look like a pretty slick product?